Thank you, Mr. President. I stand in support of MO 143. We have a long history of movements here to guarantee people with developmental disabilities the legal and human rights that all Americans should enjoy. 200 years, as a matter of fact. In 1817, the American School for Deaf is founded. In 1848, the first residential institution for people with developmental disabilities was founded. In 1918, the Smith-Sear Veterans Voc Rehab Act established a federal vocational rehab program for soldiers with disabilities. In 1935, the Social Security Act. In 1954, the Voc Rehab Act revised, establishing a system of state voc rehab agencies. In 1963, the Developmental Disabilities Act. In 1970, the Developmental Disability Services and Facilities Construction Amendment, giving states responsibility for planning and implementing comprehensive services for people with severe disabilities. In 1975, the Developmental Disabilities Assistance and Bill of Rights Act. In 1982, the Tax Equity and Fiscal Responsibility Act, allowing states to cover home services under Medicaid for children with disabilities. In 1986, the Education for Handicapped Children Act. In 1990, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act and the Americans with Disabilities Act. In 1996, the Traumatic Brain Injury Act. 200 years of an uphill battle to advocate for people with developmental disabilities. We have a long history of disability rights movement that has brought about significant changes, significant progress, and opportunities for people with developmental disabilities. We have opened doors for employment, education, housing, and access to life in a community. It is the history of parents and advocates who fought for acceptance in their community, fought to change prejudiced attitudes, protection from abuse and neglect, a long historical struggle to gain access to quality services that people are now being provided. What a step backwards for families, for advocates, and for people needing services due to a disability. This bill affects me personally. At age 18, I moved into a home with 3 ladies who had developmental disabilities. And this was not a job for me. This was an opportunity for me to learn about people unlike me, to advocate for people unlike me, and to love people unlike me. We became a family. I personally had the opportunity to observe the positive effects that these services had in their lives. When I think about these services being cut, it affects me personally. It affects so many individuals and so many families. And it should affect all of you personally. If you have not gone outside those glass doors, if you have not gone out and shook hands with the people who are out there who are receiving services and visited with Nebraskans who have disabilities, you need to. You should not vote on this until you take the opportunity to go outside and talk with them. I urge you to do the right thing and override this veto. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thanks, Senator Walz.